Entrepreneur TV, another show, another personality. Entrepreneur TV brought to you by the Entrepreneur Nation, sponsored by Sandler Training in London. And today we have the pleasure of bringing Kevin Bulmer. Kevin is a well-known name in London, founder of No Schedule Man and host of Mo Mondays, a very exciting and inspiring event happening every month here in London. I would say Kevin is a dynamic, down-to-earth, and highly engaging person, I can say. And it's Kevin's intention to, I would say, uplift everybody with the intention to, through a shared meaning of bringing the energy, optimism to each person's life. Kevin has a gift, and I share with you today, for helping people to see themselves through a fresh perspective. He has that desire that everybody has the mindset that to go forward, and he does this with a great marketing strategies. Is that right, Kevin?
I try to. Somebody else can decide whether I'm doing that successfully or not. But yeah, this is sounding great. Please keep going.
He's very true and do it a very simple way. Kevin lives with that philosophy as he works with small and medium-sized business. You can see all about him at the noscheduleman.com. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for the invitation, Riz. It's really cool to sit here and chat with you.
Awesome. And today this show is all about creating stories and understanding the stories of a business owners right behind them.
Yeah.
And I want to start with you. What is your story?
Wow. Well, I've got a lot of them.
Yeah.
No Schedule Man is probably the one that I view as kind of the grounding central through line of my life.
Okay.
It started with a song that I wrote back in 2007 about this character that just kind of went through life as the crow flies, moving forward, but letting go of things that he couldn't control. Just completely present and happy where he was, and being willing to be kind of blown sideways. If you think of it like an old-time sailing ship, so for me, I'm envisioning like a pirate ship.
Okay.
Somebody that goes their own way and doesn't want to subscribe to the system. That life doesn't really work as the crow flies.
Okay.
It's not linear. You put your X on the map where you think your treasure is, and then you set out to go and sail toward it, but you're going to get blown sideways, and if you fight against the wind and tide, you're going to lose. When I wrote that song, Riz, that was, I think I mentioned 2007, it was basically describing the exact opposite of how I was.
Okay.
Very controlling, kind of fear-based, had an idea that there's a script, there's a pattern, there's a way that you live life, these boxes that you check off, these blanks that you fill in, and then once you have your whole, like a scavenger hunt of life, once you've got the whole report card checked off, then you're good, and you can have a happy life. And I thought I had checked all those boxes.
We all try to do that.
We all try to do that, but as I've experienced has happened for so many other people, and is happening for so many other people, I ran into some of the waves, and things fell apart, and did sort of a whole life professional and personal makeover around 2010-11, and then had to really look at what's this all about. I had an idea of how life was supposed to go. I did it. I thought I was successful, but I still wasn't really happy. I ended up unhealthy, both physically and mentally, divorced, business failure. What the heck? And it was only then that I started asking myself, well, not so much what am I, or what do I want, or what am I supposed to be doing, but who am I?
Wow.
Who am I really, and what does that mean? What, not so much what do I want, but what am I here to do? What lights up my creative circuits? And what I found was, I thought that was something that we're supposed to just decide. What's your purpose? What's your big, hairy, audacious goal, they'll say. And I hear from a lot of people that well, I'd love to live my passion and purpose if I knew what it was. I've discovered that there's the word I would use, that it's been about discovering, a process of tuning into yourself and finding out what that really is. And it's, for me anyway, it's taken time. And going through that process, I remembered, well, that character to that song, Maybe that was the universe saying, "Here you go. Just try that."
Yeah.
You tried it your way, and look what happened. And so when you hear or see the term "no schedule man," that's why the logo is a compass.
Yeah, I see.
To try to trust your own internal compass and instincts to write your own story and enjoy your own adventure your own way and allow it to unfold and use intention to steer the ship where you think you want it to go, but not to tense and brace against the experiences that you weren't expecting, like a storm blows you into a port of call that you weren't expecting. That wasn't on your itinerary, but maybe Riz is there serving drinks behind the bar, and now you've got a new friend and you visited a new place.
Yeah.
So that's where that would probably be the through line for me, that what No Schedule Man represents to me is to just tune into myself and embrace the journey and stay awake and try to appreciate and not to think like I did before that we're going to have a happy end to an unhappy story. Let's get happy now. As much as we can, and try to stay present and let go, which I'm finding is trickier than it sounds. How's that for a story?
Wow. Did you saw that? That's a professional speaker going through those waves in order to sharing what it is. Being vulnerable is very tough, and we're sharing the story. But when we do share that story being vulnerable, we're being human.
Yeah, exactly.
And we connect when we're being human. We can, have this hat of business owner to sell or to conduct or present, but we only do business or share or connect with people when we're being human. And being human is being vulnerable.
Yeah.
I did, the speaking and coaching with several people. They were like, I'm very nervous. I'm like, really deep inside. I'm like, I don't know how to do it. And I say, nervousness, being anxious, have anxiety is actually a strength to me. When you come on the stage and your voice is shaky, you're really going to touch your heart. And that's what people want to know. But if you come as confident and you deliver the message, that will be all scripted.
Yeah.
And that script, nobody wants to hear.
Yeah.
Because they know you have rehearsed it really well.
Yeah.
When you did this in a shaky and that voice that show your vulnerability, it will connect. And it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be real. I get your point. But here's my next question. But you give a little bit already an answer about that. How do you present that? Like, you find your story. How do you present that will make impact for a business person?
Let's talk about the delivery sort of method that you're talking to. Are you thinking more like from the stage, or just marketing in general, or just communication?
I have a story of a business. Any business owners who is listening to us, they will say, okay, I have a story.
Yeah.
And I'll share you one. I met a mortgage broker who is in the business because at 8-year-old, when he was a child, he was evicted, and his family was evicted on Christmas Eve.
Wow.
He made a promise to himself that he will make sure everybody will have enough finances to live in their home and have every Christmas at home.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the story.
Yeah.
And that's the story he believed in. That's the story he put in. A lot of people, I will believe in that person because he will take care of my finances like nobody's business.
Yeah, yeah. But see, now here's what we get in the marketing speak and on our website, the way our website text reads, the way we put out in social media, what we put in our radio ad scripts and all this kind of stuff is, we offer the best quality price service, and you can trusted names, and which might all be true, except that I think that it kind of comes across as Charlie Brown's teacher, because that's what we hear from so many others, and there's no emotional connection there. So two things, maybe 2.5 that I'd offer there. We'll see if I can remember them all. Is that to have a story, absolutely, and I'll come back to that. But I would also offer that think about how we form relationships as people. It's not through an elevator pitch, pickup line, or just one interaction. It's a series of interactions, of conversations, or there are multiple touch points, stories, ideas, observations that I would really encourage business people, anybody, to view it as, it's not even so much one thing that we want to hang our hat on, but an ongoing process and conversation, observations, things that we can share. But that is what brings us back, I think, to the question you asked, how do you discover that? What do I say?
Yeah.
Because I'll do this in different talks where I'll share something like what we've talked about.
Right.
And you can see the light go on from people like, oh yeah, I can relate to that. Because if he's on there and he says, well, don't miss out, check it out for a limited time, hurry in and save on your mortgage today, you're kind of like, oh.
I heard this already.
Right? But when you're like, I'm passionate about doing this because of the tie to somebody that was evicted on Christmas Eve, bang, you can feel that, can't you?
There, yeah.
All right, so here are a couple of tricks for you.
Yes, listen.
When you're at a family reunion, you're with your pals, and you got a story that you want to share, what story do you tell?
Something interesting.
Okay, what would come up? Like, what would you share there to get everybody laughing, or I have to tell you about this? Yeah. Think about that. Jot down some ideas. What about, let's suppose your life or the story about your business, how you got into your business, what it's like day to day, what are the challenges, what are the triumphs, what's a good day look like, what's an awful day look like. Yeah. Suppose that the story of that business was the pitch for a TV show. You had one shot at it.
Yeah.
So you're going to the network, and here's our pilot script.
Yeah.
And that's your one chance to either get picked up as a series or dropped.
Yeah.
What story are you going to tell?
Something really deep that has my connection with it, right?
You know, I don't know about you, but when I get together with my family, campfires, there's another one. You're sitting around, what stories do you tell around the campfire? And then what I keep hearing from people, especially in a business environment, is, well, nobody's interested in that. It's like, no, nobody's interested in check it out. And don't miss out. And just being clubbed over the head with every piece of communication being a sales offer or an ask. Buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, here's my deadline. There's a place for that. We have to ask for the order. But I don't know if you ever had friends when you were younger, there was always one in the circle that was always like, somebody would come to school with something new and this kid's going, can I have it?
Yeah.
Can I have it? Can I have it? Yeah, absolutely.
So, as entrepreneur, you're getting some great words out of the guy who actually ran the radio ad, so he know what he's talking about it. And listen to his golden words that mark your journey in finding, creating, and crafting the story. That going to be able to present you, connect with you, and relate to other people so you can create your business, bring out that real person in you so the people will believe in you, listen to you, and understand you. Keep watching Entrepreneur TV. We'll be right back after the short break.
Hi, I'm Stuart LeBaire with Sandler Training in London. I want you to know that this is a paid advertisement for my company, and the purpose of this ad is to generate market share and awareness for my company here in London, Ontario. But once your prospects are in front of you, that's sales. If your company is spending lots of money on advertising and marketing, and you're still missing those selling opportunities that come as a result of those actions, perhaps you should get in contact with us or call sandlertraininglondon.ca.
Welcome back. We are here with Kevin Bulmer, the person behind the NoScheduleMan.com and the host of Mo Mondays, giving us golden words from his radio era that what worked, how the stories to be found. And you know, most of them, one of the questions always come to my mind, and when I speak with other business owners, it's hard to find a story. We already talked about a little bit on that, but then to formulate and present.
Yeah.
Because most of the people not only struggle to find story, but then they are struggling that it's, I'm so private, I don't want to share with that, or it's too emotional for them to share. How about for that reason, what would you suggest for them?
Less is more. Make it simpler. Especially if you're thinking about it from the standpoint of communicating online, social media, these kinds of things. I run into a lot of people in small business that are very intimidated by that whole world, which is a concern to me because we're going to see more of that, not less.
Yeah.
It's getting more and more difficult for the traditional outlets to, I mean, the world's just, it's not changing, it's changed. And I'm a radio guy, so I'm not talking down on radio or TV or anything like that. We're trying to make our way through how do we communicate on a Facebook page, or how do I contribute to LinkedIn and or something like that. So this age of 60 seconds or less on a video on Instagram or something like that.
Yeah.
So a line or two that can go out on, on your business's Facebook page or something like that. The other thing that I would really suggest in terms of how to kind of land it and connect it is to see if you can just pause for a minute and switch your perspective and try to get inside the head of whoever it is that you're talking to.
That's a key point, guys. It's you focused, not I focused. Something really good.
Well, I wish I'd known this earlier in my career. When you're building a brand, kind of a magnetic, what do you stand for? What makes you you? And one of the things I think that we both love, Riz, about small to mid-sized business is that to a certain extent, you are the business. It's a reflection of your own personality, values, creative gift. Position myself as an expert. And this is the kind of thing that gives me a lot of anxiety because I don't know what expert's supposed to mean. Experts used to tell us that the world...
So you work with a number of businesses in area and outside of London too. Do you have any good business success story you can share that they are sharing that story with us?
Yeah, well, a lot of them come to mind because especially in the time when I was with the group of radio stations, Virgin Radio and BX93 here in London, worked with so many great businesses. And when I was out at Delaware Speedway as their general manager and sales and marketing director prior to that, same thing. There's some deep roots with businesses. And I always viewed all the stock car race teams as little mini small businesses as well.
Okay.
So it's difficult to choose, but who immediately comes to my mind are Rick and Wendy McKinnon out at Miami Car Wash and Detailing Center.
Okay.
I know Rick would be good with me sharing about his business. I met Rick and Wendy first when I was representing News Talk 1290 CJVK. So I basically was selling radio ads to Rick.
Okay.
And in one of my first visits to him, we took care of business on advertising, but I remember him saying, "You're not going to be doing this for long, are you?" He saw more in me than I saw in myself. Of a car wash industry of all things, and it started with a self-serve wash out on Exeter Road. Now he's got the detailing center out on Springbank. They've just built another building where they have a touchless automatic car, and it's like his own little mini Disneyland. He'll challenge himself to have the vision for something that doesn't exist and then go and create it just to build.
So that's part of his story coming into existence in this business and being successful.
Yeah, and
Does he share that story when he presents himself?
He will if you go see him in person.
Wonderful. So that's great words that you actually share with them, some philosophical point of view, some practical, and one of them, the success story you have seen coming in together. So Kevin, are you ready for a fun part?
Haven't we been having fun already?
Yeah.
Are you telling me it's going to get better?
It's going to get even further.
That's great.
So under 1 minute, I'm going to ask you some really rapid fire questions. This is what called rapid fire questions here. So I have some special questions written up for you.
I feel like I'm going on that fast round of Family Feud. And I always laugh at the answers, and now I'm going to wind up on YouTube. I'll do my best.
Okay, I'm going to ask you some easy one first, and then we'll bring to the next. So an easy one, Kevin. A movie to be made on you. I know you have your albums as well. If your movie is made on you, who would play your role?
Jeez.
Time is running out.
Yeah, I don't know. Adam Sandler? You probably want me to say George Clooney or Brad Pitt, right? I always like Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner.
He's probably too old. He could play the older version of me. Okay. But I always liked him. I had a former client of mine, who told me that I looked like William Devane, who's an actor from way back.
Okay. I don't know William.
I'd need, you know what? That's the kind of question that I'm going to think of the perfect thing for, like 2 or 3 days from now.
Okay.
I'll have to call you and say. Okay. When I say Sandler, it's just because I try not to take myself too seriously. Yabba gabba doo gaboo.
Wonderful.
How about Chris Farley, motivational speaker living in a van down by the river? Sorry.
If you were to sing a song, sharing stage with a celebrity, who would you pick? And here are 3 options. Number 1, Michael Jackson. Number 2, Celine Dion. Or number 3, Justin Bieber. Three.
None of the above.
You're riding a motorbike. I know you're a motorbike.
Okay, well, we're already suspending disbelief in a big way right now, but
you see three people waiting for a ride. Who would you give the ride to them? One is an world famous actor. Number two, I didn't put the names in. Another one is a celebrity player, and then number three would be someone who you know. Who would you give the ride to?
Wow. What? Well, I probably would give the ride to somebody that I know, but I'm not interested in leaving anybody at the side of the road. But only, we were talking earlier, I think, before we started recording, that I'm not really a celebrity guy.
Yeah.
I see people as people. So I wouldn't pick somebody up just so that I could say that I met them.
Yeah.
But I would want to pick somebody up that needed the help. Like, I'm happy to
real community guy.
Well, I'm happy to meet new people, but I don't want to meet you just because I've heard of you.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a trick question. You're tricky. You're trick life before I hear from any other.
People are using stories when they're presenting their businesses.
Not consciously, not very much. I see, and maybe it's because of the worlds that you and I are in, where we connect with a lot of speakers and coaches and people that in business that are studying effective sales and marketing strategies.
Yeah.
There's a lot of how-to. I have to prove myself. I have to position myself as an expert. And this is the kind of thing that gives me a lot of anxiety because I don't know what expert's supposed to mean. Experts used to tell us that the world...
So you work with a number of businesses in area and outside of London too. Do you have any good business success story you can share that they are sharing that story with us?
Yeah, well, a lot of them come to mind because especially in the time when I was with the group of radio stations, Virgin Radio and BX93 here in London, worked with so many great businesses. And when I was out at Delaware Speedway as their general manager and sales and marketing director prior to that, same thing. There's some deep roots with businesses. And I always viewed all the stock car race teams as little mini small businesses as well.
Okay.
So it's difficult to choose, but who immediately comes to my mind are Rick and Wendy McKinnon out at Miami Car Wash and Detailing Center.
Okay.
I know Rick would be good with me sharing about his business. I met Rick and Wendy first when I was representing News Talk 1290 CJBK. So I basically was selling radio ads to Rick.
Okay.
And in one of my first visits to him, we took care of business on advertising, but I remember him saying, "You're not going to be doing this for long, are you?" He saw more in me than I saw in myself. They're of a car wash industry of all things, and it started with a self-serve wash out on Exeter Road. Now he's got the detailing center out on Springbank. They've just built another building where they have a touchless automatic car, and it's like his own little mini Disneyland. He'll challenge himself to have the vision for something that doesn't exist and then go and create it just to build.
So that's part of his story coming into existence in this business.
Yeah.
And being successful in it.
Yeah, and
Does he share that story when he presents himself?
He will if you go see him in person.
Okay.
He's one of those people that's right in the business.
Wonderful. So that's a great word that you actually shared with them, some philosophical point of view, some practical, and one of them, the success story you have seen coming in together. So Kevin, are you ready for a fun part?
Haven't we been having fun already?
Yeah.
Are you telling me it's going to get better?
It's going to get even further.
That's great.
So under 1 minute, I'm going to ask you some really rapid fire questions. This is what calls rapid fire questions here. So I have some special questions written up for you.
I feel like I'm going on that fast round of Family Feud.
Uh-huh,
and I always laugh at the answers, and now I'm going to wind up on YouTube. I'll do my best.
Okay, I'm going to ask you some easy one first, and then we'll bring to the next. So an easy one, Kevin. You win $1 million in lottery, and you have 3 options to spend on it. Pick one. Number 1, you spend all on your... All right, a movie to be made on you. I know you have your albums as well. If your movie is made on you, who would play your role?
Jeez.
Time is running out.
Yeah, I don't know. Adam Sandler? You probably want me to say George Clooney or Brad Pitt, right? I always like Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner.
He's probably too old. He can play the older version of me.
Okay.
But I always liked him. I had somebody, a former client of mine, who told me that I looked like William Devane, who's an actor from way back.
Okay. I don't know William.
I'd need, you know what? That's the kind of question that I'm going to think of the perfect thing for, like 2 or 3 days from now.
Okay.
I'll have to call you and say,
Okay.
when I say Sandler, it's just because I try not to take myself too seriously. Yabba gabba doo gaboo.
Wonderful.
How about Chris Farley? Motivational speaker living in a van down by the river. Sorry.
Real community guy.
Well, I'm happy to meet new people, but I don't want to meet you just because I've heard of you.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a trick question. You're tricky, You're tricky.
Okay, here's the real question that I'm going to come back.
Okay.
You're stuck at a roller coaster, you know, hanging up there too. Who you want to be at this time that they are right with you? That's the only the person with you on that roller coaster. You want a family member, a business associate, or a firefighter?
First of all, there was no way I would ever be on that roller coaster. I would probably want my sweetheart Caroline beside me, but I can also see the value in having somebody in business. You know what, I'll say business because what a great experience. What I would be happy to do is I would tell you who I would call.
Yes, okay.
And I bet that they would pick up, or at the very least I know that they would call me back.
Okay.
To be yourself. That's tougher to do. It's easy to sound, but I think it's a real individual thing, and it's tougher to do for a lot of us than it sounds. I mentioned earlier, I think it's a powerful question, asking ourselves, who am I? What are our values? What matters? What doesn't? Who am I not?
Yeah.
So that we're not spending time and effort and money on things that aren't necessarily going to fulfill us. So I would encourage people to ask that of themselves over and over again.
Who am I?
And run their own race at their own pace.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. It's you know, you might have caught that the real golden nuggets from Kevin. Who am I? And that finding your true self will be able to connect and find and cultivate and present that story that truly showcase who you are, why you're in this business, what did matter to you be in the business, and that's how you will be able to connect with the community, connect with your prospect, will be able to do business on your terms, on your pace. Awesome. Kevin, the guy behind No Men Schedule.
No Schedule Man.
NoScheduleMan.com.
Yeah.
And the person who's hosting Mo Mondays here in London, you can see all about NoMenSchedule.com.
I've got you all mixed up. No Schedule Man.
No Schedule Man.
I like No Man's Schedule though, because it's all, it's like one of those magic puzzles. You got to really think about it.
And Entrepreneur TV, powered by Entrepreneur Nation, a networking group throughout where people meet and exchange business and create relationships. Sponsored by Sandler Training here in London. The talk about it, that how we'll be able to create the sales training and help leaders grow bigger. Kevin, thank you so much. It was so much fun and entertaining, and learning from you with all your talk about that, you be able to share your story, help your client stories, and share the real fundamental what you believe in and live within. It was awesome.
Well,
thank you so much.
Thanks, Riz. I just offer really quickly, I am Sandler sales trained, just so you know. I've been through that. Yeah, Stuart's dad, Dave LeBear, he did the course when I was in the radio business. Love Sandler. Got the books at home, refer to it often. So Sandler's awesome.
Stay tuned. Entrepreneur TV.